Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to do a quick video today on how I built this barrel train here out of a 55-gallon drum. And I've built a few of these, and I have a way to hitch them all together. And they're really easy to make. About anyone can make one with just a few tools and just a couple dollars. They're pretty cheap, so let me explain my process on how I built this. So as you can see, this just started out as a regular plastic 55-gallon drum. You can see there. And it was probably used for oil or something, but they're pretty easy to get. If you find someone selling barrels, they're usually pretty cheap. And I just built this with a couple boards and a threaded rod and a few things like that. So let me flip it over and show you how I did it. So here's what it looks like from the bottom. You can see it's mostly wood with some metal hardware that I had laying around. And like I said, I just built this with all scraps of things that I had lying around. So you don't have to do it the same way, but it seems to work pretty well. And like I said, it's pretty easy and cheap to make. So the first thing I did was I cut this to the bottom. This board here out of a 2x6 I had, which is about 19 inches long. You can see there. And I cut these two short little pieces at an angle that I just kind of came up with so it would match the side of this plastic barrel. And it looks like they're about 4.5 inches long, one on either side. And I went ahead just using drywall screws from the inside and screwed those two pieces through the barrel, and then I screwed them also to this board that goes along the bottom that acts as an axle. And once I did that, I cut out this slot here in the bottom with a table saw, I believe. And I found this 5/8 threaded rod. I bought that, I think, at Ace Hardware. And that seemed to work pretty well for the axle because I didn't have to do any welding. So if you do that, you can just buy these lock nuts, put one on either side, and these little solid flat-free tires came from Harbor Freight. And those seem to work pretty well because they've got bearings in them. So they should hold up pretty well. I had these little metal plates from a golf cart that I used to keep the axle in, and I also drilled a hole through the middle of it right here and put another screw through it. Obviously that's not structurally very strong, but it keeps the axle from rotating so that it stays firm in the wood. And then the axle stays still and only the wheels spin. Instead, if you don't do this one screw and you just hold it in with these, because these don't go through the axle. These just go right into the wood to keep this from falling down when you go over a bump. And otherwise this axle will spin if you don't put something in there, some kind of pin or screw to keep that from spinning. To attach the hitch, I just used this scrap of wood, this ripped to about 2 inches, and however long you want. I made mine, so I put the axle directly under the seat. I figured that would probably be the most stable. And then this hitch just extends about 2 feet, a foot or two off the front. And it depends, if it's gonna be the first car, it needs to be a little bit longer so you have more turning radius on whatever you pull it with. Anyway, I used a little scrap of metal here with a hole on either side and just 2 more drywall screws to connect the 2 pieces. And to attach this whole hitch mechanism, I just used some U-bolts that I had from a golf cart that seemed to work really well. So I just drilled holes through the plastic barrel, and the U-bolts hold this on really tight and strong, so that's really secure. And to attach this to the tractor or golf cart, whatever you're gonna pull it with, I had this, which is a deck hanger for a riding mower. But you can use anything. I'll show you a picture of what I did on another one that I built to attach them together. Any kind of piece of metal I figured would be strong enough. This works pretty well because you can flip it over depending on how high your cart is off the ground. Now let me put it back down and show you the inside. So the inside of mine is definitely not that fancy, but it works pretty well. This is just another piece of that same 2x6 that I had for the seat with a brace going down on the bottom. Here you can see the U-bolts that I used. It's dirty now, but the U-bolts, and I did drill a couple holes in the front of the plastic barrel for water to drain out of right here, so they don't just sit with water in it, and that seems to work. And this right here, it's just some rubber strip I put around the whole thing so that there would be no sharp edges. For this cutout, I just kind of made up my own plan and drew it out with a marker. You can see I drilled holes in each corner and all the angles and then went along with the jigsaw and cut that out and just kind of did it until I thought it looked about right, until it was comfortable. Obviously it's meant for children, but it is big enough for adults to get in if they want to, and not hit their feet here. So I made this cutout pretty big for that reason. And then when I finished that, I kept the cutout and copied it onto the other cars that I built so they would all be similar. So as you can see, these are definitely very simple to build. I think anyone could do it with just a little bit of time and a few tools. You can order these things online, but they're obviously pretty expensive with shipping and everything. And a lot of fun to build yourself, and it seems to work pretty well. Maybe I gave you some new ideas that'll work for you. Seems like it's worked for mine pretty well so far. So if you end up building one, leave a comment. Let me know how you did it, if you used any of these ideas, and how you like it. And if you subscribe to the channel, that helps me out a lot. And we'll see you for the next one.